What I focused on specifically was having IT generate the ability to identify value with their projects and efforts that they're performing, and then having a logical and consistent way of making sure that your customers agree that there's value behind that, and having your finance organization being able to sign off on the fact of what that value is. And then because you're able to measure that value, you're then able to recharacterize IT from being a cost center to a value center. It also has the effect of protecting your budget. In other words, if everything that you're doing is expressed in terms of value to the business, a business has to make the decision of what they're going to go without. It makes it harder for the business to say, no, IT, you have to do this. We need it. Well, if you need it, then we also need the budget to do it. Right? So it hooks those two things together. This is what worked for us. What I recommend for everybody is how to measure it, how to manage it, and make your analytical decisions based on that. It takes the politics out of the game. It's no longer budget goes to the person at the table that yells the loudest. If you have all the data in front of you, it's hard to reward the person who's yelling the loudest when it should be the project that's yelling the loudest, right? So that's what I would encourage people to do. There's certain things that you could look at that we've done that you could say, hey, I want to maybe measure that or do a pilot around that to see if that works for my environment. I don't want to be mischaracterized as saying vPro is, and to the earlier statement too, of saying vPro is the most important thing to you. IT always has to look at how you're doing something different. The reason it's important to us is we have customers that are highly mobile. We have customers that are at sites that we don't have IT people that support, and we need to be able to do the down-the-wire support to them. With the way that viruses are in the environment, you need to be able to make sure that you could touch a system and do something even if it's in an off state. vPro gives us that ability to turn on a system in what you would call an out-of-band mode. Right? It's turned off, it's just sitting there. We can now reach out, turn it on, do something that IT needs to do to it immediately, then turn it back off so it's ready for the customer whenever the customer needs or wants to use it. Technology that we're, from an IT standpoint, very enthusiastic about are solid-state disk drives. We've been looking at solid-state disk drives for a year now. In PCs, we've piloted them, and what we've come to the conclusion of, and again we've published white papers on this too, is that without it impacting your user your user has to do nothing different, right? When you put a solid-state hard drive in a PC instead of a hard disk drive, it feels the same to them. They don't have to learn anything different or do anything different. And what they get for that is a faster system, so a system that runs faster, a system that takes less battery power, and a system that's more reliable. For us, the hard disk failing is one of our #1 hardware failures. 4.9% of the time, almost 5% of the time over the 3-year life cycle, we'll have a hard disk fail. Industry standards for SSDs right now are 90% less than that. So just by switching to SSDs alone, we can reduce our hardware failure rate by 90% on most of our PCs. It's more for the corporation than it is for IT. Would be the energy management states on PCs in your organization, right? It's a touchy subject, right? Because they call them PC because it's personal, right? So everybody wants to think of the PC in terms of it's mine. And so within Intel, we didn't want to down the wire go change states for everyone on their PCs to maximize power savings. What we did do is we made sure that we communicated to them what were the options, what was available, and if they wanted to, they could pull some patches from IT that would put their machines in a state where they would have good performance, and yet when they're not using the machine, it would power it down and save power and energy for the company. So there's something that I don't think, from an IT manager, it wouldn't take a lot of time for you to put together and could have a big impact. My one message to IT managers would be, there's no magic pill. It's not going to get better. There's not going to be that magic year that comes along where all of a sudden you get budget relief and you can use that 1 year to fix all the problems that you've had over many years. You need to go make that magic pill happen for you. You need to spend some time innovating and looking at how to do things new, because you can't continue to do them the same way that's worked for you successfully in the past. the technology changes, your users' use models changes, the applications that are being put on top of the technology change, you're going to have to change as well, and you're going to have to find some quick, productive ways of doing that that don't involve waiting for budget relief.